breaking news this afternoon is Kyle Lowry of the Raptors will be out 4 to 5 weeks with a broken wrist. It explains the picture of him on the sideline on February 24th, where he had a giant cast on his hand. And people were like, I wonder if his hand's okay. And
Fashion statement.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're not Russell Westbrook.
Or like,
Russell Westbrook would be wearing, like, braces on his knees thinking, no, it's like my new Barney's clothing line.
Like when Nelly had the Band-Aid on his face. Apparently there was actually a real reason behind him doing that. It was like some sort of family or raising a wellness issue, so I felt like a dick when I would give him shit for that. Did you feel like a dick when you made fun of him for having the Band-Aid?
I didn't make fun of him for having a Band-Aid because I fucking love Nelly.
And did you try to rock the Band-Aid? Oh, I cut myself shaving, actually. That's
No, I didn't start shaving until way after Nelly was relevant again, and now not relevant anymore.
It was great in The Longest Yard, though.
He can make a comeback.
He could. His acting career in The Longest Yard was great.
I'm not even talking about that, just Redux country grammar, and we're
I think he still makes a lot of money just from, like, It's Getting Hot in Here being played on Spotify.
It is, and on in all stadiums, including the Toronto Raptors Stadium, even though it's usually not that hot in Toronto. Regardless, with Kyle Lowry out, it poses I can't even undersell it, a drastic problem for the Toronto Raptors. For one, they don't have a chance in the playoffs without him. Regardless how good Corey Joseph can play, and he is much better on defense than that of anybody they can sign right this second. Like, if this was a couple days ago, would have they looked into someone like Darren Williams? Probably, if it was before the trade deadline, would they have looked to maybe bolster their front court without Kyle Lowry? Yes, but the problem is their front court was also in some woes. So we have Basketball Reference. You can look up all the lineups they run, for how many minutes those lineups play, and what the net rating is. And net rating is not that advanced of a statistic, or at least their points. How much better they are on the court. There's a pattern. Almost every one of those lineups in the positive portions, save for number 10 and 11, have Kyle Lowry in them. Yeah. And a handful of which that are actually worse with Kyle Lowry, but that's mostly because of the front court, because of Ross when he was there, Scola and Valanciunas at number 19. That makes sense. So what you're going to see a lot of is number 10, Corey Joseph, DeMar DeRozan, Tupat. Ross is not there anymore, and Valanciunas. So what's gonna? And again, they have Serge Ibaka to be filling in, so that could make a big difference. Don't get me wrong, but how many times do we say it last season? The Raptors live and die by their backcourt. When their backcourt shot under 40% in a game, they would lose games. When they were shooting above 45%, they would win games. And it wasn't just the shooting; it was Lowry's ability to work off the dribble, his ability to run the pick and roll, and really be a floor general. And defensively in the playoffs, he had a positive defensive box plus minus. In the regular season, it's actually slightly negative. So he was actually playing better defense when it mattered more. Is this a death blow for the Raptors if Lowry's back by the playoffs? No, they can make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals. But lastly, Francis, NBA standings, they could lose some ground. And as the 4 seed right now, you can't expect them to play better without Lowry. So they might lose some of that traction. They could fall to a 6 or a 7. Have to play the Celtics or a terrific at-home Wizards team and have some struggles in the first round.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we were talking about the Raptors and how much they could be a dominant force if they were to boost the front court, especially since Kyle Lowry was the man advocating for them to boost it. He did an interview not long ago where he was talking about how if this team wants to be where everyone thinks they should be, they need to strengthen. And it's just, unfortunately, the way the game works is the person stating that is the one that they need more than anyone on that team who goes forward and gets injured. So is it detrimental to their overall chances? No. They're just going to have to go a rather unfortunate route if they happen to drop 2 or 3 places, which they have every possibility of doing. Now, I'm not underselling the Raptors. They're a great team, but I'm overselling Kyle Lowry because he's a phenomenal player. He's a heartbeat of that team along with DeMar DeRozan, and their backcourt is the reason why this team are considered to be the second best team when they're on form in the Eastern Conference. So without them, even if it is for a period of 10, 15 games or whatever it will be, that's a long time to be without a player who then once you get him back is going to have to get back up to speed in the playoffs, and it's going to be troubling. No one wants to have to go through that. We saw what happened with the Clippers when Chris Paul went out, a crucial part of their team, and trying to deal without him, and then when you manage to fit him back in, by that point, you're already up against it. You're already struggling against teams that, if they're healthy, are working off of that momentum and really looking forward to the playoffs. So it's going to be an uphill task. Can they do it? Yes. Like they did well to boost their front court, and I think Serge Ibaka, the physicality of that man, is going to be great for them. So it's just going to be a tougher task.
It is. We'll see what they're made of. We'll see what Corey Joseph's made of. He's going to get a lot of spotlight here, and maybe he can feed DeMar DeRozan. If you're looking for optimism, I can't give it to you. That's your star player. Your best player on the court isn't there anymore for 4 or 5 weeks. If it's like the 76ers, he's probably out for the whole season. He'll never come back. And if it's like I don't know, Spoelstra during sometimes the Heat, he'll be back if it's like the Grizzlies, he'll be back tomorrow. They'll be like playing physical basketball. All right, so comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. The Raptors, what happens? No Lowry. Do they sign Jennings, who was waived by the Knicks, who I claim, quote, sucked 3 weeks into the season and took backlash on Twitter from wrong sports fans. But no one cares when you're right. At Francis_Maxwell on the Twitter, at JaSonRubin91, at my Twitter, at TYT Sports, and on Facebook as well. We'll see you there.